Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I'm your host, the voice of reason. Well, today, in the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia, the Prosperity Party, under the leadership of Abiy Ahmed, continues to press the United Nations to evict approximately 5 to 7 United Nations officials that are currently operating and or working inside of Ethiopia. And apparently the United States State Department has made contact with Abiy Ahmed and has stipulated that it was not within the scope of the Ethiopia, the government inside of Addis Ababa, the right to expel those United Nations officials as they are not an actual state entity. So the question is can the Prosperity Party, can the existing government inside of Addis Ababa, who claims to be the governing body inside of Ethiopia, and again it's kind of disputed at this point, but do they have the ability to evict those United Nations officials? Well, the answer to that is of course they do. Absolutely. When you are a gravitational, tyrannical regime, you can do whatever you want. If you want to invite another tyrannical regime, such as Eritrea, to launch a military operation against people inside of your own country, you can do that as well. If you are a tyrannical regime, you can do whatever you want. And in this case, they are exercising that purview of a despotic, tyrannical regime, and they are attempting to evict people who say something that the government does not want them to say. So that's what's happening. Yeah, absolutely. Not an issue. If you're a supporter of tyrannical regimes, it is completely okay. Inside of Addis Ababa today, there has been some fairly significant demonstrations in opposition to Abiy Ahmed. Some of these demonstrations were observed with chants down, down Abiy. And you could clearly see security forces were on edge, and at varying points did actually intervene and break up and or disrupt some of those protests. We can also confirm that one of the main methods of countering internal dissent inside of Addis Ababa is post-disruption. And that would mean intelligence services will go out and then after said protests, they will then arrest and or disappear people who are identified as key leadership individuals inside of the protest movement. And you can clearly see in one of these videos that I was able to observe, they were speaking in English and doing many of their protest chants in English, and obviously that is directed towards the West in hope of some type of assistance is rendered, and in hopes that may be covered on Western news telecasts. Now, that is an issue because the Western world, and well, much of the world for that matter, is simply not reporting on events that are taking place inside of Ethiopia, and that's unfortunate. But in other news, the fighting continues. in the northern Amhara region. More importantly, the buildup of forces continue. The large-scale mobilization of forces continue. And we continue to hear chatter, we continue to hear information or receive information that would indicate that in the next month, maybe 2 months, we could see some fairly significant large-scale activity by both sides. Both sides are in preparations for some fairly significant actions. We will see how that actually transpires. We continue to see the massive buildup and mobilization inside of the Tigray region. We continue to see forces flowing south towards the Amhara border. We continue to see, more importantly, the consolidation of forces, especially near Kobo, Weldia, and other areas inside of the northern Amhara region. We also continue to see more conventional assets being employed by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. Again, a lot of this is video coverage of certain events, of things that are occurring, and you can clearly see columns of Tigrayan Defense Force personnel, and they are moving in trucks, and oftentimes they're transporting artillery and other heavier weapons that we did not see during the occupation of the Tigray region. So obviously some of this, or a lot of this equipment was captured by the Tigrayan Defense Forces, and some of this equipment may have existed in stores inside of the Tigray region as well. We continue to hear of activity and fighting that is going on east of Mekelle towards and in the vicinity of Abala. And again, that cause was due to the fact that those regional militia units, these Afar regional militia units, possibly supported by Ethiopian army, entered the Tigray region from Abala, and then started the reported use of some drone activity. So again, not confirmed in terms of the actual drone use, and we still are unsure of the exact type of drones being employed by the Ethiopian army at this point. But that information at some point will be released if it is in fact happening. One other key note, usually, and this was especially pronounced during the Azeri campaign against Nagorno-Karabakh. The Azeris used the gun camera footage, so to speak, the optic footage of these precision-guided attacks as means to increase morale and mobilize public support to show that they were winning the war by displaying some of this footage. We have not seen that as of yet coming out of the Ethiopian state media. So you would assume that if the Ethiopian state possessed a precision strike capability and the ability to record said precision strike against forces of the Tigrayan Defense Forces, they would publicize that. They would show that as a means that they could be possibly winning the conflict, and we have not seen that yet. So that is something important to note and could actually dispute that that capability even exists, or it could show that the drones that they are using simply are not that good. They don't maintain data link connections. The optics are not great. It's very difficult to assess And again, this is a hypothesis, but I think it is valid. I think we would have probably seen something from Ethiopian state TV if they were employing drones in a manner in which they were hitting targets and they were able to record such attacks. So, but again, we'll keep an eye on that situation, and for all intents and purposes, the Ethiopian media could release footage today at some point. It's hard to say, but they have not done so as of yet. That is the news for today. Now we will continue to monitor the situation and report. Again, while the battlefronts are not as active, I would say, in terms of information coming out at this point, there is a tremendous amount of positioning underway for some possible very significant operations that we could see fairly soon. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll do another video later.